Good morning. Welcome to the forecast discussion for Friday the 13th, 2012. It is 7:46 a.m. and right on par with some bad luck because it is Friday the 13th. We do have limited observations this hour with temperatures ranging anywhere from the mid 60s to mid 70s. Of course, in your urban locations, you're going to be warmer with temperatures in the 70s already. And away from your urban locations, away from that urban heat island, temperatures are in the 60s with dew points pushing into the lower to mid 60s for most locations. You can see every morning we've become more and more humid, and that humidity is going to continue to increase today on through this weekend with hazy, hot, and humid weather conditions returning to the northern mid-Atlantic just in time for our weekend. Let's take a look at the water vapor satellite picture, and you can see our Bermuda high clearly starting to develop. We have the mid and upper level winds starting from the Gulf of Mexico, moving up through the Mississippi River Valley right towards the northern mid-Atlantic, with plenty of moisture in the atmosphere just building right into the New York City and Philadelphia metropolitan area. Our old stationary front is pretty much all washed out. What we have here is just a lingering disturbance over portions of the Tennessee River Valley, and we have another disturbance around the eastern Great Lakes, and we have what's left of the boundary along the southeast coast. All of this is going to wash out, and basically what you're going to see is this high pressure system redevelop off of the mid-Atlantic coast, producing a nice southwesterly wind for much of the northern mid-Atlantic, with the exception of the immediate coast where we'll get an easterly wind because of a sea breeze. Other than that, we're going to be dealing with a southwesterly wind producing a rather hot and humid air mass for the northern mid-Atlantic. Now, with all this moisture in the atmosphere and all these little mid-level disturbances, you can see them popping up in blue here. There's going to be a threat for a few isolated showers and thunderstorms each and every afternoon. Now, these thunderstorms are not expected to be severe because we really don't have any major focusing mechanism with this type of pattern. But in this type of situation, I wouldn't rule out a severe thunderstorm, an extremely isolated one at that. And I think the biggest impact from these thunderstorms to this afternoon on through this weekend will be the potential for very heavy downpours in localized locations and strong wind gusts. And of course, your occasional to frequent lightning with these thunderstorms. Again, I'm not really expecting anything widespread here. It's not going to be a washout this weekend, but the threat will clearly be present, especially between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. every day for these thunderstorms. Taking a look at the radar, you can see we have quite a bit of rainfall developing over the Appalachians here. I don't think this rainfall is going to reach the northern mid-Atlantic, but you do see the potential here with all this moisture in the atmosphere moving north, and you get a few mid-level disturbances, and here's your result right here. As this moves towards the northern mid-Atlantic, though, high pressure that's centered over the Great Lakes this morning will suppress much of this precipitation, and it won't reach the northern mid-Atlantic. But it kind of gives you an idea of just how much moisture is in the atmosphere and what could happen when one of these mid-level disturbances interacts with all that moisture in the atmosphere. So again, I'm expecting generally dry conditions for the northern mid-Atlantic, for the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area, but we're going to keep an eye on these showers and thunderstorms as they move north and east. And I also want to show the observations this morning, especially for all the moisture in the atmosphere. Now, the past couple of days we had dew points below 60 degrees, especially over northeastern Pennsylvania. This morning our dew points are well into the 60s, pushing into the 70s by this afternoon. And you can see what happens when this hot and humid air mass invades. What I'm expecting for temperatures for this afternoon is basically right along the immediate coast. We're talking about the upper 80s. Away from the coast, look for temperatures to range from the lower 90s to possibly the mid 90s over the Philadelphia metropolitan area. And with humidity on the increase, you will feel it this afternoon, and you'll really feel it tomorrow afternoon and Sunday afternoon. So get ready for some hazy, hot, and humid weather conditions. And again, here's our infrared satellite picture with a mix of sun and clouds over the northern mid-Atlantic for this afternoon. The precipitation over the Appalachian Mountains will not reach the northern mid-Atlantic as this high pressure system redevelops off of the mid-Atlantic coast. Taking a look at the latest model guidance from the Penn State EWAL website, via the European model guidance. Again, for this evening, our Bermuda high starts to take control at almost all levels of the atmosphere, and that's going to mean an increase in moisture. Again, there will be a threat for an isolated shower or thunderstorm this afternoon between 2 to 6 p.m., and then everything collapses. Moving on through this weekend, the Bermuda high is in full control. You can see that high pressure system now fully established off of the east coast, basically right around Bermuda, producing a south to southwesterly wind at the surface. Temperatures will range from the upper 80s to mid 90s, of course, the coolest locations along the coast. Lows through this weekend will range from the upper 60s to mid 70s, and you will certainly feel the humidity in the atmosphere through this weekend. Moving on to early next week, again, pretty much the same type of pattern on through Tuesday with hot and humid weather conditions and a threat for thunderstorms each afternoon. I'm really concerned about Wednesday evening. As a powerful cold front moves through the region, we could see a widespread outbreak of strong to severe thunderstorms on Wednesday afternoon. It's something that we're going to keep an eye on. These thunderstorms could feature some significant wind damage. We're going to keep an eye on that with this cold front, see how it works out with the timing and the potential for the best instability in the atmosphere. But Wednesday afternoon is certainly a day that we're going to keep an eye on. And then as we head towards the end of next week, we get a short break, especially on Thursday, with temperatures back in the lower to mid 80s. But that break will not last long as the heat ridge reestablishes itself over the Mississippi River Valley and expands to the east coast, with temperatures rebounding back into the 90s, humidity returning just in time for next weekend. Another hazy, hot, and humid weekend. That is your forecast for today. Of course, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. You can follow the latest weather information at nynjpaweather.com and nynjpaweather on Twitter and Facebook. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there.